Evening, folks. That was incredibly impressive, as has the whole evening been. We appreciate all the comments and thoughts that everybody's given. My name's Dave Hartzell. I teach here at the business school in real estate, and this is my 30th year on the faculty. So Vanessa was one of my first students in my very first class I taught at UNC. So hello, Vanessa, we miss you. In my 30 years here, and I'm an alumnus of the PhD program as well, my experience tells me that you'd be really hard-pressed to find an alumni who's more avid and supportive than the recipient of this award that I'm going to give, which is the Leadership Award. And that's my friend Steve Cumbie, who's sitting right over here at, table 9. So shout out to table 9. Steve, as many of you probably do know, he's a highly successful CEO. He's principal of 3 companies, NVCommercial, NVRetail, Metro Realty Group, and in his career he's had projects, real estate projects that exceed $1 billion in asset value. I became aware of Steve's generosity and leadership when we hired him. I didn't really hire him. We were pleased that he was able to accept coming back to Chapel Hill when he joined our Wood Center for Real Estate Studies as the executive director in the years 2008 through 2010. He co-taught a real estate development course with me, which is probably one of the most rigorous courses, certainly in the real estate program and also at the school. And this meant that he kept his full-time job in Northern Virginia while also teaching 2 days a week in Chapel Hill. And how he did that, I have no idea. And his presence in the classroom while he was here is pretty incredible. His classes were always sold out. Attracted a large number of students into the course and taught well over 30 of them each year, and each time he taught the class. It's safe to say every one of them thought very, very highly of Steve as a teacher and as a friend and as a mentor. Joe Cannon, who's one of our favorite students, and I know Steve keeps in touch with him, said he did a great job bringing real-world applications into the classroom. I specifically remember a negotiating charrette. Steve will tell you what that is later. It's a real estate thing. He orchestrated around land purchases. I had never seen anything like that in class before, and I'm confident that everyone in the room walked away with new insights that day and many other days because of the care Steve took to bring the business world to an academic setting. He says, he finishes, and this is about the best praise you can get as a teacher. He said, "The lessons I learned in Steve's class continue to inform my career today." While an adjunct, Steve was extremely instrumental in helping get our student-managed real estate private equity fund started and up to speed. As some of you know, these are the first and only student-managed real estate private equity funds. So we've done 3 of them. They give hands-on learning experience in selecting and managing investments for real investors with real capital at real risk. And they've become a huge differentiator for our programs in attracting and retaining the best students that we can possibly get. At the beginning, it was a speculative program. That's when Steve joined. And now it has become probably one of the most important things that we do here at Kenan-Flagler. In my opinion, we have 2 funds fully invested. We have another fund that will soon be fully invested. And I'm really happy to report that today our Fund 4 was approved by the UNC Board of Governors, which is just another great step. We'll be starting to raise capital for that tomorrow. So you'll probably be getting calls from our students pretty soon. Just saying. I haven't asked Steve formally. He's been on the investment committee of every single fund that we've ever done. Steve, this is a formal invitation to be on the investment committee going forward so that you can continue to contribute to our real estate program and to our business school. After his 3-year stint with us, where he gave generously of his time and his abilities, he still continues to serve on the Kenan-Flagler Business School Foundation Board of Directors. He's a member of our Wood Center Advisory Board, which gives him a great opportunity to continue to share his experience and his insights and provide tremendous opportunities for our graduates. Both of these and all the other activities that you do for the school, and I'll outline some of them later too, help us to ensure the excellence of our school and our real estate program. Steve and his wife, Drusy French, who's sitting right next to him here at table 9, and also is an incredibly supportive alumnus of our programs with 2 masters and a PhD, and sits on the board of the foundation, the Arts and Sciences Foundation, among many, many other things. They've created an MBA fellowship for real estate students, which gives a free, full-ride tuition scholarship to students who want to pursue real estate at our program, and attracts students who otherwise would not have attended Kenan-Flagler. Steve is obviously loyal to his alma mater. He received a BSBA, and frankly, I didn't know until tonight that he graduated Phi Beta Kappa. That's pretty impressive. With his humility, he would never admit that. And he got his MBA at Kenan-Flagler, and he's also as loyal to other activities that he's involved in as he is in our business school here at UNC. As Steve Jones said, when we do these, we reach out to a lot of people who know Steve and have known for several years, and we've got several of his, couple of his high school friends and childhood friends here. As Peter said, his partner in the NV companies, our arrangements worked out because we're different, but our view of life is very, very similar. We help those in need, and we pride ourselves on high standards of integrity. Again, the key things that drive our business school. Steve is also very driven, confident in what he wants, and he can sell anything. And that is absolutely true. Of course, Peter provided an example of this. He said, 30 years ago, I was working for another company, and this is right after Steve had started his company NVCommercial. And those of you who have worked with him in the business school will appreciate what I'm going to say next. Steve decided he wanted to recruit me. So we set up a noon meeting, and we met in his conference room. Steve had the usual wonderful social graces as you would expect. We met at noon. There was no lunch, and he talked the whole time. He said, I spoke the same 7 words over and over again. He said, I've got to get back to work. Steve, I've got to get back to work. And this is what you'll appreciate. As I stand to leave, Steve says, you know, I feel really good about this conversation. Needless to say, this is in Peter's words, he sold me on the job, and Peter's been a partner for 30 years with Steve. Having a partner, giving back to a lot of things is a part of Steve's just makeup and his DNA. And having a partner like Peter, who Steve can rely on, I know, has given him lots of time to provide leadership for other activities in the Washington, D.C. area. And I'll just give you a few, again, of the many that he has served and what he has provided to the community. He currently serves on the board of directors for George Mason University's Center for Real Estate Entrepreneurship. What's up with that? Just kidding. From 2008 to 2012, he was board chair of Inova Health Systems, which is an integrated healthcare system. If you live up there, you know about it. It's the area's largest private employer. And we spoke with Fred Sachs, who's a fellow board member during Steve's stint when he was chair of Inova. He said, Steve understood that oftentimes it doesn't make sense financially or otherwise for doctors to be in private practice, which I agree with. By bringing our hospitals, medical experts, and researchers together, we're better able to serve, our diverse community of 2 million people. Under Steve's tutelage, revenues grew to $2.69 billion. He's served on the Health Systems Board for 20 years, continues to assist in advisory capacity, again, giving back to the community. Another really interesting organization that Steve's been involved with is a group called Youth for Tomorrow, which he also contributes his natural gift of leadership to. It's in Northern Virginia. It provides behavioral and mental health services to children and adults through residential, educational, and outpatient services. Dr. Gary Jones is the nonprofit CEO. Said Steve first sought them out way back in 1998. Unlike many donors, Gary says, Steve made a personal visit to our campus to see for himself what our program was all about. He said at the time there were 24 boys in residence. Today, YFT annually serves 800 boys and girls in our residential program, another 7,500 kids through its 4 mental health satellite offices, and Steve has provided business advice and counsel and has been a tremendously resourceful philanthropist for the past 20 years. He served on the board of trustees, he chaired their premier fundraising banquet, steering committee of their first capital campaign, which raised $13 million in 2 years, now serves on the second capital campaign, and he still serves on the foundation's board of directors. And here's a quote from Gary. It says, "In essence, whenever leadership is required, he is there for us." I think Gary's quotes could apply to any of the organizations that have been lucky enough and fortunate enough to receive the benefits of Steve's counsel. Along with his strong commitment to public service, there is no question that he is a loyal Tar Heel through and through. For his loyalty, for his generosity, for his friendship to me and the people that work here at the Kenan-Flagler Business School, for his business expertise, and for his leadership, I'm honored to present this long overdue Kenan-Flagler Business School Leadership Award to my friend Steve Cumbie.
Thank you, Dave. My good friend and colleague. I'm not sure I recognized everything that you said there, but I'll accept it. Thanks. Also want to acknowledge some of the folks at my table. My wife of 40 years now, Drusilla French, over here, also an alumnus 2 times over of this university, and who really spends more time than I do right now helping them. My daughter Stephanie, who came here from Atlanta. My high school friend and hiking buddy, Tim Weichel, and his wife Inez, which have been friends of mine for a long time, and my longtime fraternity brother, Larry Pollard, and his lovely wife, Brenda, who knows everybody in the room, because she always does. So thank you all for coming. So when Doug said mogul, all I could think about is those ski bumps that I could never deal with. So anyway, but when I came to Kenan-Flagler, I really had no idea what I wanted to do with my career, and I really didn't know exactly why I was there, other than I had undergraduate degrees that left me prepared to do nothing except to go to graduate school. And so the level of my analysis was law school 3 years, business school 2 years. I think I'll go to business school. And yet I think I was led in that to the area of life which really I was suited for. And of course, some of you were around the business school in the mid-'70s, and it was not, I came there and I learned a lot, but I really wanted to be, I didn't know the word, but I think I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I wasn't necessarily sure how I was going to get there. And, but the business school gave me the background in terms of understanding business in general, and then the direct contact to my first job. So John Pringle was my advanced finance professor, and it was in his early years here. And he really challenged us. He had come out of the private sector and he was challenging us. And so I took the bait and went after it. And lo and behold, this was toward the end of a real estate expansion in the mid-'70s. And he, one of his friends who, NC&B that he'd worked with, had started a real estate development company, and they were looking for somebody, and John recommended me, and I wasn't at all what they were looking for. They wanted somebody that had, had some experience, that had been to, after undergraduate school, had been to working and learned something about real estate, and then went back and got an MBA, and I didn't do that. I was pretty much, you could do that back in these days, Doug. You could actually go almost directly from undergraduate school to business school. And I had 1 year off, I think. But in any event, as soon as I met with him and interviewed, I knew, okay, now I know what I'm looking for. I want to do something like that. And even though I wasn't the kind of person they wanted, I just hounded them till they hired me. And then it turned out they hired 2 people. And the other one was exactly what they were looking for, and that was Nelson Schwab. So Nelson and I started at the same time with this company in Atlanta. And boy, did I have to run hard to keep up, because he was, 3 or 4 or 5 years older than I, and worked on Wall Street at Eastdil and then gone back to Wharton. And anyway, I felt like the stepchild, but it was great. I loved it, and I worked hard, and it was a difficult time because that was the top of the cycle. Anyway, so the point is, I'm just really eternally grateful for the time that I had here, and the direction that I got, and the preparation that I got in order to go out and have an opportunity to work hard and give my gifts in the business arena. And it's just been something that I don't know how I would have gotten otherwise. So this school is really something that I will forever be grateful for, and will do whatever I can to try to further their mission and success. And I appreciate so much the acknowledgement tonight. Thank you.